going on, guys? Twig and Timber Outdoors. Today we're going to cover some basic tips to maintain your fly gear to make sure that it lasts as long as it possibly can. Now I just got done fishing and I'm bringing my gear in to show you guys exactly kind of what I do to make sure that my gear lasts as long as possible. Now a rod and reel in fly fishing is actually one of the least maintained bits of gear that you're going to have. Other than wiping it down clean, making sure that your metal parts are clean. If you have metal ferrules, take care of those. But the modern graphite fly rod is actually really easy to maintain. All you really have to do is keep an eye on it, make sure it doesn't corrode, make sure that there are no fractures from your beaded heads hitting the fly rod on the way through, and make sure that it's basically just as up to maintained as possible by visual aesthetics. Now when it comes to the reel, there's a couple things you could do. You could take it apart, you could wipe down each part individually, but to be honest with you, other than making sure that it's clean and dry, there's really not much you have to do, except for when you store the rod, make sure you store it with the drag completely off, because it compresses the discs in many of these different drag systems and actually makes the drag weaker over time. Make sure you store it as low as possible. Now the big thing I want to talk about is actually maintaining the line. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this line off of the reel by stripping it out probably about 30-40 feet, because that's all I really used, and I'm going to take a washcloth and I'm going to wet it with soap and warm water, not hot, but warm water with a little bit of dish soap that's safe. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run about 6-inch strips through the washcloth in order to take off any residue or any slime or scum that might have built up on the fly line from the water itself, and that's going to allow the fly line to last a little longer without cracking. Now when it comes down to your flies, it's actually very easy to do to maintain your flies. Inspect them once in a while, make sure that you have no pitted rust or anything like that. Make sure the hooks are sharp, hone them if you need to, but the biggest thing I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to take my fly boxes, I'm going to open them up, and I'm going to allow them to air dry, or I could even put a small fan on them, allow them to fan dry, making sure that each fly that I used gets dry completely so it doesn't rust. An additional stage in preparing and putting away your gear is potentially to put your gear away in safety boxes, bins, tubes, packs, what have you. I'm going to put this fly rod in a rod case, and I'm also going to put my reel in a neoprene sleeve just for safekeeping in case I happen to drop one or happen to cause any accidental damage in the long run. Now there is specific care for waders if you happen to use waders. I didn't today because I wet waded into a pond, and therefore I really didn't need to take care of my waders. We'll have a separate video on waders themselves on how to take care of those, make sure those stay pristine for a long period of time, but hopefully that was informative. Hopefully you liked the video. If you liked the video, hit the like button with a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and until next time guys, tight lines.